Okay, thank you all for taking that 2 minutes of respect and silence for Daniel Prude and his family. And I realized I didn't press record for the meeting, so I did just press record for any of the people that were unable to make it. We still have people joining us. So thank you for that. And we're just going to review our agenda real quick. Like I said in the beginning of the meeting, because of the amount of people that are here, I think we're just going to smush together newcomer introductions and the community networking piece. Just because there's so many people here, we might as well just go all the way around the room. And so what I'll do is I'll call out your name as we go in order of who's on my participant list here, and you'll just open up and share about basically who you are. So let's see how many people. We have 31 people in the room, and the goal was to keep this portion of the meeting to about 30 minutes. So if everybody can just take a minute to share about who you are and your organization and any updates or information that you have. And then by then we'll have Angie and Alex. Angie from Systems Integration and Alex Turner from Catholic Family Center will be joining us. They're both on another strategic call right now, but they will be joining us at around 11:30, and they'll be sharing a little bit about what's going on, or I'm sorry, 12:30. They'll be sharing about what's going on in their world. And then we'll do open floor announcements, and I have some announcements, and then we'll hear from you guys if you have any announcements of upcoming events that are going on in our community. So with that being said, we're just gonna jump in and start. I still have some people joining the meeting, so we're just gonna start going around the room, and we're gonna start with, I'm just gonna go down the list that I have here for participants. So I have really no agenda with who goes first. So the first person on the list is Don Alt. Don, come on up and introduce yourself, what church you're a part of, and what brings you to our collaborative. We're so happy you're still here with us.
Yeah, I'm Don Alt, and I'm from Bethel Christian Fellowship. And I guess my wife and I have been part of the collaborative for, well, about over a year and a half anyway. And we're just glad that we're part of Rochester, and we continue, of course, to pray for our city because of the situation that we find ourselves in. But I truly believe that once people's hearts get changed, we'll see peace in the city. And that's what I'm praying for, is God's peace to reign in Rochester right now.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Don. It's such a blessing to have you here. All right, next up we have Richard.
I'm Rick Ferguson. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and our practice is Pathways Mental Health Counseling. We provide general counseling, but we also do the home community-based services that some case managers are able to refer for our staff. There's 4 of us here to go into people's homes who don't tend to keep appointments and get themselves into mental health issues and problems. I go to the New Life Assembly United Pentecostal Church in Henrietta on Calkins Road. That's about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. And I also did want to say, we will share out the chat as well. So if you want to place your information in the chat, I see some of you have already started doing that. If you place your information on the chat, others will be able to know who you are and be able to get in touch with you. So thank you so much. All right, next up we have, oh, my screen keeps jumping around on me here. Next up we have Alicia Shepard. Alicia, welcome.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Alicia Shepard. I am the lead youth program coordinator for youth services at Compere Rochester. So I make awesome matches happen. I monitor matches from with the youth from ages 5 to 21 for kids that deal with mental health, as well as we have an adult program and a veterans program, as well as a family support program as well, and peer skill building. This is my first time coming to the meeting, but I'm super excited to be here. I finally was able to make it, and we have a lot of services that we provide as well. So always looking for more awesome mentors, and you can also refer kids to our mentoring programs as well. Okay. Thank you.
Awesome, Alicia. Yeah, and if you have a website or different information that you're able to share in the chat, so that people can access to be able to refer to those services, that would be great. All right, and next up we have Allison Poray. I hope I said that right.
Hi there. I'm representing Bethany House today, place of Sister Karen, and I am an MSW student at Nazareth, interning here at Bethany House.
Awesome, welcome. Thank you so much. All right, and next up is April Allen. Welcome, April. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Good. So good to have you here.
I'm glad I could make it today. The last time I had planned on coming and then I had to see with a client, so unfortunately I couldn't make it. But I'm from the YWCA. I work in young adult services where we have the Parents as Teachers program. I don't know if anybody knows about Parents as Teachers, but Parents as Teachers has parent educators that actually go out to the home to meet with the client so that they can work on the ages and stages and development of the child. And it also comes with case management, which is what I actually do for Parents as Teachers. And I work with, helping the families with their basic needs, whether that's food or, if they have issues with DHS or they need any other community resources. I don't know if anybody knows a lot about what IWCA offers. We have a shelter, we have long-term housing, we have the emergency shelter that I had mentioned, and we also have Stepping Stones, which is a drug treatment facility. And what's unique about that facility is the child can actually be reunited with the parent. So that's kind of what we have in a nutshell.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, April. And yes, so because we aren't in person, networking can be challenging, right? Because we hear all these great people sharing what they do. The hope is that they'll share their information in the chat, and if you're interested in getting in touch with them about how to collaborate or how to make that connection, that you'll be able to do that. There's also another option that you can click on in the chat. You can click to, and you can chat directly with somebody. I'm sure for those of you who have been using Zoom for quite some time, you know how to do that, but you can have private chats as well during the meeting if you want to reach out to somebody and say, hey, I'd really like to connect with you. That's another option for virtual networking. I know it's not the same as shaking a hand and standing there and just chatting a little bit about everything, but hopefully that's coming in the near future, and we have some announcements regarding that later on in the meeting. So so next up we have Katira Poland. Hi Katira, welcome. I don't know if she's in the middle of another meeting. Let me see if I see her. Katira, are you there? I wonder if she's having audio issues because it doesn't show that she's on mute. But we'll try to, oh, there you are.
Hi, my name is Katira Poland. I'm an admissions counselor with Job Corps, which is a trades and education program for 16 to 24-year-olds.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Katira. Glad to have you here. All right, and next up we have Dale with Hope Initiatives. Oh, you're on mute, Dale. There you go. Now we got you.
All right, sorry about that. Good morning, everybody. Dale Sedgwick with Hope Initiatives. And we primarily provide furniture and household goods to individuals who are in need. We work mostly in cooperation with Monroe County Department of Human Services with DHS. They will approve an individual in need of those items, approve them to receive them. They'll send the voucher to us, and then we will fulfill it on their behalf. We also provide moving and storage services. And what we typically do is, in order to make the furniture, we have individuals come to us either on a volunteer basis or from Rochester Works. individuals who need to develop some additional work experience so that they can get back into or get into for the first time the world of employment, with the goal being to work their way off of being dependent upon our social services system for their basic needs and get to the point where they can work. And by the way, I'll apologize. My camera keeps going in and out. For some reason, it's not working very well, so I've got to get a replacement, I guess. But that's Hope Initiatives, and that's what we do. Happy to answer any questions that anyone may have about us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dale. Thank you for being here. All right. And next up, we have Florine. Hi, Florine. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
Hi, everyone. I'm Florine. I attend the Father's House in Greece campus. I work for Strong Center for Developmental Disabilities, doing intake interviews for new patients who have physical and developmental disabilities. I also work for crisis intervention, where we see children and adults who are in active crisis. And I am a student at KU College, wrapping up my last 2 classes and starting internship with Restoration Rochester. That's about it.
Yes, we are so excited. She's going to be starting internship with us, and she's already doing some volunteering, which has been absolutely amazing. So I'm just so
Yes.
thankful for her. Yes. All right. And next up, we have Florence Dukes. It's like switching around on me here.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Florence Dukes. I work with Helio Health. We have programs in Syracuse, Utica, and Binghamton. Here in Rochester, we actually operate the substance use detox program on University Avenue.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Florence. So glad you're here. Florence has been an active part of the collaborative for quite some time, and we're super thankful to have her with us. All right, so next up we have Jeanette Creighton. How are you, Jeanette?
Hey, Lynn, doing well, thank you. So I'm here representing 2 agencies. The one is Judicial Process Commission, JPC. It's been around almost 50 years. And the program I'm involved with is New Journey. So we work with women that are incarcerated and who have small children and or are pregnant. And then when they come out, we provide a lot of wraparound services for them. As you probably know, we haven't been able to go into the jail since March. That's when they closed the visits. And prior to that, I was doing group in the jail 2 to 3 times a week. So my boss has been working with the jail to try to see if we can kind of do some Zoom things with the ladies. I do the Zoom with the ladies that have been released every week. And I'm a licensed master social worker and a CASAC, so I provide a lot of therapy and preventative stuff. So the other thing is I'm part of REACH, which is the temporary winter shelter. So I'm on the personnel committee with that. I've been involved with REACH since it started, and we're hoping to again be at St. Peter and Paul's where we were last year, and we're working with the Coptics to make sure that that's something that they want to do. So we're also going to probably have some, individuals that can come when REACH is open and present their programs, so that the guests know what's available for them. So that's who I am. Thanks.
That's awesome. Welcome, Jeanette. Thank you so much for all you do in our community.
I'm sorry, could I get her name again? We're having a situation with REACH, and it'd be great if I could get in contact with her at some point. I'm sorry.
It's Jeanette Creighton.
Okay.
I'll give you my cell number.
Okay.
585-202-0017.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's what
And
it's all
Judicial
about.
Process Commission is wonderful.
Thank you.
JPC is one of the most wonderful organizations.
Thank you.
They've been such a help to so many people that I've dealt with.
I appreciate that.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, guys. All right, next up is Jocelyn Baisley. Hi, Jocelyn.
Hi there, Leah. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jocelyn Basley,
representing the United Way of Greater Rochester. We serve not only the city of Rochester, Monroe County, but 6 regions around us. I was fortunate to join the collaborative in the height of COVID, representing our CEO, Jamie. And we, as many of you know, we have a community crisis fund that we run with the Rochester Area Community Foundation, providing phase emergency needs that have been caused by the pandemic. We recently started phase 2 funding for those nonprofit organizations that are experiencing severe financial hardship of the cost of reopening or maintaining safe operations. And because of all of the civil unrest, we have a priority focus on equity, so that the priority are for those organizations whose staff and board leadership can demonstrate that at least 75% are communities of color. That funding rolls out once a month, so every 3rd Friday. So this coming Friday is the application deadline for September. It's a very easy online application available at our website. And in addition to phase 2, we are still doing some phase 1 funding to support just emergency needs, such as food, shelter, clothing, and PPE. As you know, United Way is the only funder in the area that does 3-year, multi-year impact grants in the area of out-of-school time education, basic needs that supports social determinants of health, and our new impact area, which is economic mobility. For this, because of the pandemic, we've granted those 50 agencies some flexibility in their first year funding. But my job as a community grants manager is to help nonprofits find grant opportunities that may be supportive to them. So it's a pleasure to be here. As always, been working with Leah very closely in this pandemic time, and happy to just be a part to support these organizations that are here.
Awesome. Yes, Jocelyn, you guys are such a support to the community. At some time I'd like to talk about, I don't know if here's probably not the place or now, but I did try to apply for some of the phase 1 funding and the website wouldn't let me through for some reason. So I don't know if that was a technical issue I was having on my end or if I was just in the wrong space. But is there an easy way that people can apply still for phase 1 funding?
Yes, there is. I will put the link in the chat box. And then I also wanted to let folks know that in addition to that, we are running what we call the Human Services Hub on Mighty Networks, which is kind of like a Facebook page for nonprofits where you can post your events, find out what other nonprofits are doing, and propose solutions and questions to your other nonprofit colleagues. So we want to expand that. There's no cost to join that. It's just an email addition, and then you'll get updates every day about including the fund and other events that are going on in the community. So it is a resource that's available to any nonprofit in our area. So I'll put the link for the grant application here and also information about the hub. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Hilda just joined the call. I think that this is going in alphabetical order. It looks like it's going in alphabetical order. So Hilda, we're just going around the room, introducing ourselves, who we are, who we're with. It's so good to have you here. You're up to introduce yourself. So welcome to the meeting and thank you for being here. Oh, but you're on mute. You're still on mute.
Now?
There you go.
Okay, well, my apologies for being late. So I'm Hilda Rosario Escher. I'm the former presidency of Ibero-American Action League. I currently work for All American Home Care as head of government relations. And basically, All American Home Care, they provide services for seniors in their home. Someone was talking about funding. I just received information from the governor's office that there was an $80 million approved for childcare. And there are different grants that agencies can apply for restarting or reopening their daycare if it was closed and they don't have enough money. There is also money for providing for distancing, for a daycare to open in a safe place and provide safety to children, whether it's including dividers or masks. and furniture and all of those things. So and then there is also for first for people that are below the low income, you know, the 100% low income families. So there are grants for them to be able to have their children in daycare. For first responders, that's what I meant. So that is really important that the community knows.
Yes,
Anything else?
absolutely. Thank you so much, Hilda. We're so glad to have you here. Thank you. Thank you for
Sure.
sharing all of that awesome information.
Mhm.
So next up we have John. John's here with the MC Collaborative. Hi, John. How are you? I don't know if he's in another. You never know when you go around the room if they're in another meeting or if mute just isn't cooperating with them. Are you there, John? Okay, so we're gonna go on, and then John, if you figure out or if you are able to join, please feel free to join after. We have a couple of other people joining the room. I just want to make sure we get back to them for introductions. Angie's coming in. So where did we leave off? So next up is Judy. Hi, Judy. How are you? Welcome. Oh, you're on mute. There should be in the bottom left of your screen, there should be a microphone that's got like a red line through it. If you click on the microphone, it should bring you off mute. I don't know. Well, we'll come back to Judy. Judy, if you come off of mute, let us know and we'll come back to you, okay? All right, and Kevin, I know I did receive a message from him saying he's joining us via mobile, so I'm not sure if Kevin, are you able to hop on and introduce yourself?
Hi, Leah. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can, and it looks like Judy just came off of mute. So do you have a second, Kevin? Can Judy introduce herself real quick and then you hop back on?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, great, thank you. Go ahead.
I'm Judy Craddock. I'm a retired nurse, and I just started working with Leah and Annette last week. My husband and I work with Mission Share, which is an organization in Greece, collaboration of 11 or 12 churches that work together to help people find clothing, food, and some other helps to, we're connected with Food Link. And unfortunately, since COVID, we've been operating a little bit differently. I'm still giving people food and that, but we're hoping to open fully this week because we like to have people in to make that connection where we can pray with them and just have that more personal connection with them. So that's about it.
Oh, I was on mute now. Awesome. Thank you so much, Judy. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate just having you as a part of the team now. All right. So Kevin, you're up. Sorry about that.
Hi. No worries. Hey everyone. It's my name is Kevin Beckford, and I have two hats. One is I work for the University of Rochester as a director for equity and inclusion for university. I'm also an elected official in the town of Pittsford as a council member of our town board. And so this meeting has been just been wonderful to see how much it's grown under Leah and everyone's leadership. And it's you know, part of my role is community engagement, and so I sit in on a number of people who play a role either directly or in terms of connecting people that may be able to help. And it's a good way to kind of keep a pulse as to what's going on. And so it's just been wonderful to see the growth in this community. And there's not one meeting that goes by that I don't learn something new. and it gives me an opportunity to share that type of information to other areas. And it's also nice. The fact that it's recorded, so if you can't make it, you can go back, listen to it, or share it with folks that may need to know it. So I have nothing new to report on this side, outside of, more and more of our employees are coming off of furlough as we start to pick up on, elective surgeries are starting to come on back on board. The challenge has been certainly is that, and because of the social distancing, the volume will never probably get back to where it used to be. So that will, but it is definitely picking up, and a number of employees are coming off of furlough, meaning in a lot of cases won't need as much support from the community as they needed while they were on. So no other major announcements outside of that. Once off of furlough, we will start to have job openings, whereas most of those were frozen while we had to put people on furlough that you serve that are a month or so. You'll start to see some job openings come active online.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kevin. And you've been a great part of this group and a part of the growth of this group. And so we're just thankful to have you a part. And thanks for giving us the update. Excited that people are getting back to work. It's a good sign. So awesome. All right. Next up, we have Lori McKnight, and we're just going to kind of go as quickly as we can through the rest of the people. We want to give everybody a time to introduce, and then we have both Angie and Alex are here joining us as well, and they're going to be sharing. Each of them have about 10 minutes to share towards the end of the meeting. I know some of you only block out an hour for this meeting, but it is an hour-and-a-half meeting. So because we switched it around, we did the networking in the beginning. It's kind of challenging because you have to wait a little while for the presenters, but just thank you for your patience. And I can guarantee you that the information that you're going to get is going to be worth the wait. So, so next up is Lori. Hi, Lori.
Hi. It's good to be here. I'm Lori McKnight from Children Awaiting Parents. I'm the executive director. We are primarily an adoption agency, also working on a foster care license and program development for those kids who age out of care without families and resources and find themselves homeless or in other need. So we want to connect them with a supportive family and resources in the community. So we're just getting back into the office. The only exciting news we have is that we're up and running again and moving at the end of the year. By January 1st, we'll be in a new space. And it won't be far from here. We're at Village Gate now. We're staying near Village Gate. So that's, and oh, we do have a big thing coming up, a gala on November 6th, and that gala will be primarily virtual, but we may be able to have some live experiences at the Carlson, and our MCs are Sandy Waters and Scott Spazzano. So we're hoping that everyone tunes in. It's one of our major fundraisers, as the adoption agency doesn't have a whole lot of funding. We don't get government funding at this point in time. So those are the exciting things that are coming up for us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lori. It's so good to have you back. Lori was away for a little while, and we missed her while she was away. Those of us who know her know we've been praying for her and her family, and we just thank you so much that you're able to join us back, and just so excited about the testimony that's coming through your story.
Oh, and it is coming.
Yes. Amen. All right. Very cool. Next up, we have Leslie. Hi, Leslie. Welcome.
Let me just come back here. Again, Leslie Harvey from the Housing Council at Patstone, and happy to be here. This is all definitely very new to me as far as the community collaborative, but I'm the outreach administrator here for the Housing Council. We've got some great things going, of course, with our agency. We definitely have a big push on our first-time home buyers program, as well as families who've been certainly impacted by COVID-19. We have a foreclosure prevention department if those folks are homeowners. There's, of course, also a rental assistance program. And we also have a hotline that people can call us from 9 to 1 Monday through Thursday, if they have questions, landlord-tenant questions, and we'll be definitely able to just kind of guide them as to whatever assistance they might need. So happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much and welcome. We're glad to have you as a part of the group.
Thank you.
All right. And next up we have Lindsay Swanson. Welcome back, Lindsay.
Thank you, Leah. Thank you all. Nice to be here. My name is Lindsay Swanson. I'm an educator that's working on a few different projects here in Rochester. Some of you may know that I was working to get an all-girls STEM-focused middle school open, and our application is still in with the state, waiting to hear back on that. One of the other new and more primary projects that I'm working on is with the Freedom Scholars Learning Center, which was previously, many of you may know it as the Freedom School over in Beechwood. We are working right now pretty quickly and urgently to get a tuition-free learning pod set up that could be established for students in the Rochester City School District. Really our goal is to provide educational supports that are really responsive to the needs that we're seeing in the community right now around COVID. So providing a place for students to go during the school day when they're engaging in their online learning so that they can have a place with access to Wi-Fi, with trained educators, and also with food and a safe place to learn. So we're looking forward to getting that up here pretty quickly so that we can have that established within the first couple weeks of school, and working with a new group there to find funding and all of that to make sure that this project can get rolling.
That's so awesome, Lindsay. Thank you so much. You have your finger on the pulse with helping the young people of our community, which I think is so important and so key right now. There are so many voices out there. All of our young people need encouraging voices like yours to keep them going and excited about learning. So we're glad that you're on the job.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Leah.
All right, next up we have Martha Newbert. Welcome, Martha.
Hello. Hi, everybody. I'm Martha Newbert, and my primary role, I'm a retired social worker having failed retirement. So my primary volunteer work is with Asbury First United Methodist Church. And I answer the calls that come in from the community, from community members that are asking for assistance and have gone the gamut of different agencies in town. And not always finding the help they need. I also volunteer as a social worker provider at the You Are Well Clinic, and I'm on the board of the Dining and Caring Center. So I'm sort of have my hand on a lot of the outreach programs at Asbury, which is a mighty, mighty church. And I'm happy to be a part of it. And
you may have failed at
retirement collaborative from the get-go.
I was going to say, you may have failed at the retirement, but you have certainly succeeded in impacting people's lives. Martha and I actually started this collaborative together. It was just the two of us chatting almost 2 years ago about how a lot of people didn't know about all the services that were offered in our community. And then it was a meeting of 3 and 16, and as you can see, it's grown from there. So thank you, Martha, for everything that you've done and for helping me get this going. So next up we have Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Welcome. If you want to just share what church you're with and what you do to help those in our community. You're on mute right now, so I'm not sure. Do you know how to unmute yourself?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Go. Yeah, welcome. We're so glad you made it today, Michelle.
Oh, thank you. My name is Michelle Egan-Sturdivant. I am a housewife over in the St. Paul Quarter, and I'm here today to support Leah to become a new Facebook friend. And I'm just here to listen and find out about, this is my first meeting ever, and all of you have really good jobs to help with people in the city who need it. And it's good to be here. Thank you.
Michelle. Thank you. I'm so glad that you're here. One of the things about the Community Collaborative is it's open to people who serve the community, but it's also open to community members as well to come in and learn and know what's available in our community. So thank you for representing our community and being here. And I'm
Welcome.
sure if you learn of any information that your friends might be able to use or that you guys can use, you'll certainly be able to reach out to some people. So thank you so much for being here. All right,
Thank
next
you.
up we have Nate. Nate Hasto. Welcome, Nate.
Glad to be here. I'm going to keep my spot short here because I'm excited to hear what we've got on the speaking docket here. But my name is Nate Hasto from Hasto and Associates. We are a local financial education and fiduciary advisory company. Really just focused on we've been coming to these for a long time and met so many awesome people. Focusing on teaching people the ins and outs of how money works, supporting the nonprofit workers and organizations in the Rochester area and surrounding areas, and just looking for ways that we can be of service. So if anyone has any questions, I love looking for partnership opportunities, and would just love to know more about what your organization does so I can direct people your way that need your services. Thank you so much, Leah. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Nate. So glad to have you. All right. And Nate didn't mention, but he's also a new board member here at Restoration Rochester, which is super exciting. He's just a wealth of information, and we're excited about what God's doing in our city and just excited to be able to serve together. So it's awesome. All right, next up we have Roseanne.
Hello. My name is Roseanne Leckie, and I'm the program manager here at Charles Settlement House. Charles Settlement House is the only human service agency in the Northwest. We serve, we like to say, from birth to death. We have a senior center. We have family developers for casework. We have a youth programming. We work in the community. The only thing that's open right now is the family service department. We haven't missed a beat. We've been open from day one. There's food pantries, there's clothing. And we have caseworkers helping with unemployment, rental assistance, security deposit, basically anything that our community needs. And we have, our area goes from State Street to Beach Avenue, and then from State Street to Lee Road. So basically the whole Northwest.
Awesome.
And that's it.
Awesome, Roseanne. Thank you so much. We're so glad you're here and thankful for everything the Charles Settlement does for our community. All right, next up we have Shalonda. Shalonda, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. I'm Shalonda. I'm from Willow Domestic Violence Center. I am a case manager for the Tapestry Rapid Rehousing Program. So my program has 30 clients throughout the year. And then I collaborate with the YWCA, and I also collaborate with Legal Aid. So it's a great program. And we assist with first month's rent and security deposit.
Awesome, awesome. Welcome. So glad to have you here. All right, next up we have Sheila Richardson. All right, we're gonna keep going. And next up is Teresa Carter.
Hello.
Hi, Teresa.
I'm Teresa Carter. Hi, how are you? I work, I'm a registered nurse, and I'm a member of Memorial AME Zion Church. I'm also a participant in our Beyond the Sanctuary. We have a food pantry and also a clothing pantry there for individuals in the community. I'm also a member of the Black Nurses Association, and we work with the Rochester Sicklers Group. And there's going to be a blood drive. I think it's September 26th, and we would like to have as many people in the Rochester area come out as possible, assist us in making sure that we get enough blood on that particular day to help the sicklers. So I'm a pretty busy person with some of the organizations. I'm also a member of Caterpillar, which is another nursing organization. So I appreciate all the information that I'm receiving and about the different organizations that are here that maybe could assist the Beyond the Sanctuary and other things that I'm doing. Thank you.
Awesome. Yes, we're so excited. You guys do great work in the community as well. And I know Carmen wasn't able to be here, but if you could just tell her hello for us. We miss Carmen, and I know she's a very busy woman as well, and it's hard to get her to join us on the meetings. So tell her we said hello.
I will. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Next up, we have Tina. Tina's another community member that's joining us today. Hi, Tina.
Hi, Haley. Okay, well, for starters, I am a parishioner at Holy Apostles Church. We do so many things, but some of our things are on hold. Like we can't do our neighborhood suppers that we would do within our community at the current moment because of COVID-19. We do a thing where we would distribute food every Thursday, things like that, for those that are on the list. We have our Sister Dorothy Mary Walk coming up as well, which we're having to do that virtual. It's a fundraiser for our church, so we get sponsors, so it goes towards all of our ministries, the youth ministries and things along that line, to be there to help everybody within the community. I also help out at St. Joseph's North Side, which is the double house next to my church. It's like an outreach program. People come, you have coffee and everything too. You can have a cup of coffee, conversations. They try to help with whatever resources they can to try to help other people out. Like they connected with Saint's Place, which can come and deliver clothing or whatever stuff that people need to their house right now because of the situations going on with COVID. I go to the Lona meetings also, which is the Lyle Otis Neighborhood Association. Also help out with Cameron Ministry, so I'm pretty involved within my neighborhood. Talk with some of the homeless and the prostitutes out there, lending an ear to them. Some of them appreciate me, some of them don't, but trying to get them know that we're out here and we're trying to help in whatever way we can. So there's a lot going on. I can share in the chat room my church webpage, so for anyone who wants more details of how we're doing the walk, and if anyone wants to sponsor the walk, they can, or to see what other things that we do, because the list is kind of long, so I can't say
No, that's great. Yeah, share
we're always there.
Definitely share the
Okay.
website in the chat. We're really glad that you are here with us today, Tina. Such a blessing to have you here.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely.
All right,
Share the
thank you,
information in the
Martha.
chat. You're amazing. All right,
All
so
right,
we have
will
two
do.
Teresas up next, and then we have a couple of people who joined us a little bit late. I do want to get to the speakers, so I'm wondering if, for the people who joined us a little bit late, I'm wondering if it's okay if we come back to you after the speakers. If anybody has thoughts on that, I'm open to hear, but I think that would probably be the best way to go, just to make sure that we get people still available to be able to hear the people who are speaking. So next up we have Teresa Carter and then Teresa Yankovic. So we'll start with Teresa Carter. Hi, Teresa. Or wait, Teresa, did we already met you, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay, all right. So it was just Teresa Yankovic. All right, that's what I thought. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Hi, this is Teresa. So I work for HCR as one of the program managers for the Health Home Care Management Program. So I oversee the HARP program. We also have a Health Home Plus care manager, and we also have a children's program for individuals that receive Medicaid, and we help link them to services and supports in the community. So we work with the homeless population as well as other individuals with serious mental illnesses, as well as other chronic health conditions. And we also have our home care agency at HCR as well to provide support.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Teresa. Thank you for being here. All right, so we're going to shift over to our getting down to business section of our agenda. I'm so excited to have Angie Brown here from the systems integration team. I'm going to let her introduce herself. She has some information for us. And thank you, Angie, for being here. We're so excited to hear from you.
Thanks, Leah. Hi, everyone. It's nice to be with you. Leah, I will need permission to share my screen as I have a couple of slides.
Okay.
I'll let you work on that. Briefly about me. So oh, is it? Oh, it's working. Okay, we're good.
All right, good.
Yep, thank you. So briefly about me, I work on the systems integration project. I'm the senior project manager. I've been with the project for a year and change. And the systems integration project, if you're not familiar, is a project that lives at the United Way. The goal of the systems integration project is really to support some of the goals initially set forth by the Rochester Monroe Anti-Poverty Initiative. It was identified early on as the RMAPI team was doing its work that in order to eradicate poverty in our region, we really needed to address some of the dysfunctional ways in which our system works. So the charge of our project is to really look intensely at healthcare, human services, and education, look at those formal systems and figure out how do we create connections and collaboration and shared accountability, and really break down the silos that exist within each of those sectors to get people to work together, because as human beings, you know, there's not just one sliver of me that deals with learning and education, and there's not just one sliver of me that deals with my physical health. So I'm a whole person and I should be treated like one, and we want to develop a system that respects our humanity in that way. So what I'm here to talk about today is the Eviction Prevention Pilot Initiative that Systems Integration has been partnering on with Monroe County, as well as with a number of other partners, including Leah and Annette with Restoration Rochester. So I'm gonna flip through a few slides. I know I only have 10 minutes, so I'm gonna go fairly fast. Good news is that Alex, who follows me, we're working together on this. So anything I miss, I think Alex will chime in. So I'm going to go ahead and take you through what is the Eviction Prevention Pilot Initiative. We've been calling it EPI for short, or EPPI. The goal really of the initiative is to help individuals get rent or mortgage assistance. So mortgage assistance is a part of this that's coming soon. So that folks can avoid being evicted from their residences due to non-payment. Our scope is really focused on the non-payment aspect. We recognize that with COVID and the financial downturn and loss of jobs that have impacted our region, there's a number of individuals who either before COVID were, you know, having issues with meeting the rent, and then COVID really just made things worse, or due to COVID, folks who've lost their job and maybe have never interacted with the system before to get support. And how do we navigate this? It's pretty complicated. So we see this as developing a solution that can help anyone that is needing rent assistance, whether they have found themselves in this situation in the past or they're brand new, never having experienced this before. We want to make it easy. As I said, we've been partnering with the county on this, as well as 211 Lifeline and local community-based organizations. To date, we've been working primarily with Community Place of Greater Rochester and with Catholic Family Center Community Resource Services. And they've been our early adopters, and we're excited to be able to expand, and I'll talk about the expansion in a couple of slides. And what the EPI is really a cross-sector workflow that is supported by a shared electronic platform, so that we can, as we're helping folks get connected to rent assistance, we can communicate with each other and actually have that visibility that if I referred someone to get rent assistance to Catholic Family Center, I can see that they did indeed get rent assistance, or maybe they didn't and the reasons why. So being able to have that closed loop is really important to our work. We are leveraging the Unite Us platform that the 360 Collaborative Network is also using. So we're piggybacking on some of the existing tools that are used in our community to make this pilot work. I won't go into all of this storyboard details. Normally I like to tell the story, but because of time, I'll just let you kind of sit with this. And the gist of the story is we're creating a workflow that helps individuals who are faced with the very overwhelming and daunting task of getting assistance with rent. And we're helping get them connected so that they only have to tell their story, just once. So get them connected to a 211 telecounselor at the beginning, who can help get them directed to a community-based organization's case manager, who can finish, the intake process. And then the case manager can look at the different array of programs that are out there and available, and then help the person come to a decision about which path is right for them. There's some key things that we have learned just in working on this project. When I started working on this project in April, it was a very common understanding amongst folks that in order to get rent assistance, you had to first go apply at DSS for public assistance and be declined before you could tap into any of the resources of local CDOs. And that's not true. So that's a real key myth that we've been able to dispel, or not dispel, but a practice we've been able to change through this process. Another practice that's been able to be changed through this process is in the past, in order to get rent assistance from one of the more prevalent programs in our community, the ESG program, which is federal funding, a person had to be in a lease or re-sign their 12-month lease. That is no longer a requirement. So that they've been able to kind of push back and make some adjustments there. So really what we're trying to do with this process is show that going to DSS and applying for public benefits, which have to be repaid, that should really be a last resort, and we should be looking to getting in touch with some of these grant programs, these community-based programs first, in order to help people dig out of a rental arrears situation. So that's what this storyboard is telling the tale of in the depiction of Molly getting through her rental arrears situation. I'm gonna go ahead and flip us next. So how this process is different is it's about having a flexible front door. So one of the things systems integration is working on is these collaborative cross-sector workflows. We know that people go to the front door that they're comfortable with. I mean, many of you operate front doors that people are comfortable going to. When they're in need, they come to you because you're trusted. They have a relationship with you. They feel confident that you know what you're talking about and that you have their best interest at heart. And so what we really wanted to do with this process was prove out what happens when you move the front door away from DSS. And it's, we've moved it in the first part of our pilot to 211. And later in our pilot, we've moved it to the Hall of Justice. So we've created an additional front door. And then even later in our pilot, we'd like to look at some alternative front doors. What are some places where folks are turning to now to get engaged with rent assistance? Maybe, they aren't the places where folks are administering programs. They're not, running through millions of dollars, such as like CFC, but your front door might be a place where people go to get started, to get advice or get help. And so how can we flex our front door even further is something we're excited to do with this pilot. So our process flow, I'm not going to read through the diagram, but I just wanted to show that we've really looked at how do we make this cross sector. So how do we take the journey that a person is going through and get all the different pieces communicating with each other. And so here you see the pieces of 211 acting as the front door, the point of entry, the community-based organizations providing the navigation and the intake, and then DSS or DHS helping with those referrals that the community-based organizations may not be able to assist, or it may not be the most appropriate path for the person. Perhaps they have a very large arrears. Perhaps they have broader needs beyond just the one-time rent assistance, such as needs for SNAP or other public benefits. So it's helping the person get connected and not dropping them off at any point in the process, but staying with them all the way through and seeing it through. In case I run out of time, I want to make sure I get my commercial in. If you know of anyone that is behind on rent and facing eviction, we are asking to please have people call 211 to get started. There's a group at 211 that's been trained and are now working through the Eviction Prevention Pilot Initiative workflow. They do a pre-screen there. They capture answers to questions about the person's need that then go directly to the case manager to help complete the application. And you know, at times of the day, certain times of the day, the hold times have been up in the 30 minutes, but there is a new callback feature. So if people are like, oh, I don't want to wait, the callback feature is working beautifully, where 211 is able to call the individual back. So if they don't want to waste minutes or things like that waiting on hold, that's an option too. So commercial plug for calling 211 for this EPI process. Here's who's participating right now. Again, this is about to expand. We've got 211, and as of now, we had 20 trained users, again, looking to onboard additional. Catholic Family Center has 10 users, and Community Place has 4 users, and Monroe County DSS has 4 users on. You can see that Catholic Family Center and Community Place, they've been helping out with the emergency rent funding that they already have, as well as additional funding that Catholic Family Center received. So there's a lot of different programs out there that we can get people connected to. They all have different requirements, eligibility criteria, documentation needs, and what we want to do is try to make it simple so that once you get connected to a CBO, you don't have to worry about all those details, or the client doesn't have to worry about all those details. The case manager can figure that out with the person in front of them. Our progress to date, so we started with the pilot on the 17th, and later, shortly after we started, Catholic Family Center was awarded some additional funding from the city. So we're, very small capacity right now in terms of the CBOs that are participating. We're excited about that growing, and I'll share that in a moment. In our first phase, so this was through our first 4 weeks of being operational, we took in 200 referrals. You can see most of those went to Community Place in the graph on the left, and the remainder largely went to Catholic Family Center. A small portion of those went to DSS. The referral status, so as of September 4th, of our 200 referrals, we had a very large chunk, 50%, that were still needing action, and 28% that were closed. That's about 56 referrals that were closed, and of those 56, 24 individual households received rent assistance to the tune of about $15,000 total. This is obviously a number we're interested in growing. I will say it's challenging at the moment with only having 2 CBOs that have rental assistance dollars to administer. And that is why we're really excited and eager to get ramped up into our phase 2. This is our rollout plan. This shows you kind of how we're moving into our phase 2 later at the end of this month. Previously, when we said of talking about this project on the call, we were expecting to be well into our phase 2 at that point. But because of timing and procurement processes, we haven't gotten as far as we had hoped. I'm happy to report, though, that our logjam has been broken through, and I'm confident about our 9/28 phase 2 start date. So right now we're in this interim phase 1.5, and what 1.5 looks like for us is we expanded from just having 211 as a front door to also having a desk at the Hall of Justice. We've been staffing a desk there since September 8th, so that individuals who are being called in for eviction cases can come out of their eviction cases and receive assistance either from one of our folks participating in the pilot or from DSS. There's two folks standing by. The goals are really to help, to the extent we can, get people connected to rent assistance, and if that will satisfy the needs of the landlord, then that eviction case doesn't need to proceed. We can get the landlord paid and they do not need to move ahead with an eviction. So it's new. It's nothing that really any of us have done before. Even those at the court have said this is a test. And so far it's, you know, pretty slow going. The court is booking about 40 cases a day. And because many of these cases are pre-COVID, so they were cases filed before March 17th, and the world has changed a lot since then, most people aren't really showing up. So like if there's 40 cases booked for a day, it's not uncommon that only 8 cases showed up for the whole day. So it's kind of a needle in a haystack right now. We think by October 1st, if the eviction moratorium lifts as expected that date, the number of cases and new cases obviously will cause us to be a lot busier. So we're grateful that the alcove they've allocated to us has room to grow, because I think you know, come October, we could find ourselves in a completely different situation of being quite busy. Next steps, you may also have heard about another project, the Tenant Defense Project. So the city has dedicated some monies to Volunteer Legal Services Project, and participating legal services organizations like Law New York and Legal Aid Society. And this is to help pay for getting people connected to legal counsel so that they don't have to go it alone with the eviction proceedings. And so we are collaborating with that group so that our workflow can be inclusive of connecting a person to legal counsel. It's natural and only makes sense that we would be doing that. So we'll soon have within our process flow the ability to make referrals to one another. In late September, as I mentioned, we will be rolling out some additional CBOs. So we'll be adding 5 community-based organizations, and those organizations will be allocated some new CARES Act dollars. These are organizations that applied through the county's RFP process and will be receiving that award. And then all of that funding will be directly focused on rent assistance. And it's about $4.3 million in direct rent assistance. That's not overhead, that's direct rent assistance. So that's a big infusion of resources that'll greatly help our capacity in being able to help people in need. That's end of September. By end of September, we expect to be up and running. You can recall from my timeline slide, 9/28 is when we expect to start phase 2. Systems integration, additionally, is going to be identifying some organizations that aren't factored into the above that will help facilitate connections to rent assistance via non-traditional front doors. And we will be offering incentives to organizations that are supporting the project there as well. So I think that's potentially an opportunity for those of us on the call who maybe aren't part of the CBOs that are being awarded the county dollars. And then last, we will be moving our workflow to a new electronic platform that gives the ability to collaborate and share data, but it also provides a TurboTax-like experience for completing rent assistance application. So what we're really looking to do with this enhancement is to move away from handing people the 25-page application for public assistance. It's called the 2921. Some people call it the monster because it's just a really burly form. And what we have built is an interface that asks people in a guided way the relevant questions to populate that form so that people can more easily get connected either to DSS because it satisfies their requirements or to a community-based program. So we're really excited and there's a lot of work happening, and I thank you for the time. I'm sorry I went over, Leah.
Oh, you're fine, Angie. That was excellent. That was all wonderful information. Thank you so much. We're so excited about what systems integration is doing to pull together the pieces of our community. And we're excited here at Restoration Rochester to partner with systems integration and to be able to support and help bring you guys all together in any way that we can. So I'm just going to take this opportunity before Alex speaks real quick. I just wanted to say that Unite Us is such an amazing software, and it's such a big piece of this whole puzzle to be able to help bring us together as community-based organizations, and also to be able to help those of us who are working in the case management field to be able to refer to those organizations that are a part of that network. So the more organizations that can become a part of that network, the better it's going to be for our community. So if you're interested in finding out more about Unite Us, I know Rachel wasn't able to make it on the call, but if you reach out to either myself or Angie, we can certainly make a connection to get you the information that you need about Unite Us and to see if your organization is a good fit for that platform. So I just wanted to bring that up about Unite Us before we go into our next segment. So next up we have Alex Turner. He's going to be sharing a little bit more about eviction prevention and homelessness prevention and what they're doing over at Catholic Family Center. Hi, Alex. How are you?
Hi, Leah. Thanks for having me on. So I want to talk about 3 different things. And so I'll start with what I hope is a clear-eyed assessment of how big we believe the problem is in terms of people who are facing eviction. And then next I'll talk about a little bit, it'll be a bit of overlap with Angie, but it'll be what our community has done so far to be able to address that problem. And then the third thing is a bit of a call to action for everyone. So I'll kind of work my way through that. I don't have fancy slides like Angie does, so you'll just have to bear with me and look at me while I'm talking, I guess. So first thing, clear-eyed assessment of how big we believe the problem is. So I've worked with Henry Fitz at the City of Rochester, and we've sort of looked at the data, and we've matched up all the different studies we've been able to look at. We've brought some national studies and tried to localize them, and all of it points to and kind of converges around a number of 15 to 20,000 households. And that's kind of the middle of a wide range of possibilities. Probably the lowest it could possibly be is around 12,000 households. And the highest it could possibly be is even north of 30,000 households. So we're working in that range. Obviously, nobody is an expert in something that hasn't ever happened before. So we're trying to figure that out, but it's somewhere in that range. And I try to just, when I'm wrapping my head around the problem, I try to keep 20,000 households in mind. And those 20,000 households represent somewhere between 60 and 80,000 people in Monroe County. And that's just Monroe County. And in the city of Rochester, it's somewhere between 50 to 70% of that number. So that's the size of the problem that we're expecting. Now, some of those folks, the economic data points to them facing eviction, but they may have social capital that helps them get out of that situation, or they may make negotiations, or they may start a new employment. They might use the unemployment resources that they've gotten, and they may be able to get out of that situation on their own. So those aren't folks that are actively being evicted. Those are folks that the economic data kind of points to them being housing unstable. So it's a little bit of a different definition of terms, but that's what we're looking at in terms of the scope of this problem. In terms of kind of the scope of the solutions, our community, you've seen Angie's presentation, our community has really come together in a way that we have been trying to come together for probably the last 10 or 15 years. I've only been at this for about the last year and a half, but I've seen a lot of efforts in this direction to try to bring things together into a single intake, into a single front door. And thanks to Angie's leadership and some great cooperation from the organizations that you saw, 211 and CPGR, and the county and DHS, and getting support from the county and even funding from the county to help support this kind of approach, we've come together in a really unprecedented way, and other agencies are now coming into that as well. And so from a financial assistance perspective, we've got that unified approach like we've never had before. And there's some additional funding that's available between all of those different sources that will be able to help a lot of those 20,000 households as they come to us. It won't necessarily, we won't be able to help them all with financial assistance, but there's other categories of assistance as well. And this is what I'm going to send to you in the chat. And what I would encourage you to do as you're working through a case with a client that you're working with or a friend that's facing eviction, I would have them start at the Financial Empowerment Center. That this is an opportunity for them to really marshal their resources and figure out, this is how much income I have going forward, this is how much rent I have, this is how much rent I owe, and negotiating with their creditors, including their landlords, but also car payments, trying to figure out how do I maximize and stretch these dollars as far as I can. So the Financial Empowerment Center is a great place to do that. It's a service provided by the City of Rochester through the Consumer Credit Counseling Services of Rochester, so CCCS. But that City of Rochester FEC website I shared in the chat, it's a great resource for folks that are getting behind and maybe not facing eviction yet, but they're concerned that they will at some point in the future. The next thing is tenantdefense.org. That is a cooperation of all of our legal assistance services. So that's Legal Assistance Services of Rochester. That is VLSP, which is the Volunteer Legal Services Providers of Rochester, as well as Law New York. All three of those legal services providers are represented on that tenantdefense.org. And they can help with negotiating the legal landscape, which has been constantly changing with all these different moratoriums, and a judicial moratorium, and a state moratorium, and a federal moratorium, and a CDC moratorium. There's lots going on in that legal realm. And so rather than trying to explain it at this point, especially with the CDC moratorium, the best thing for any individual to do is to access those legal services when eviction seems like it's inevitable at that point. Maybe they get the pay or quit notice, or maybe their landlord is threatening them, to contact those legal services to help them navigate what legal protections they have. So the CDC moratorium, figuring out how to issue a declaration to their landlord that says, I'm in this category that's protected by this moratorium, you cannot file for eviction. That would be one way that a lawyer could talk them through, this is what this declaration means. You have to make sure that that applies to you before you sign it. Otherwise, you're committing fraud. It's a really complicated situation, and that's why a lawyer is a great idea to talk with those folks first with the tenantdefense.org. And then there is that third option that if someone is facing eviction, they've got their pay or quit notice, it's a one-time need, so they can make it going forward. They just don't have enough to pay what they weren't able to pay over the summer, either because they lost hours or they had emergency expenses. There are one-time assistance dollars that are available through CFC and CPGR, and the way that that a client can access those is by calling 211. And just so that you're aware, our system is currently working through a huge amount of intakes that we got after the mayor made a big announcement about our program. They posted our information, and so we received a huge influx of intakes. We're still working through that. So we're working our way back up from, really we're coming on a few weeks now of folks that backlog that we're trying to get through. We've got folks that are actioning all of our different sources of intakes, and we're working our way back up to today. But that's really going to take probably the next week or two for us just to work through that backlog. So we just ask that everyone's patient with us as we're working through that. But that calling 211, folks will be able to get screened, and they'll be able to access all of the programs that are in here. Now, granted, it's just us in Community Place right now, but other programs are signing on all the time. So that's that, even though it's the same front door, what's behind it is going to keep on growing. So then the last thing, so that's the problem, the solution, and then the last thing is just a call to action that that problem of 20,000 households whether they need eviction prevention assistance or not, they're housing unstable. They're going to be unstable in a lot of other ways. And there's more than those 20,000 households that are facing food insecurity or are facing other types of insecurity. And so I would like to echo Leah's call for us all to consider becoming a part of Unite Us. If there's the opportunity for you to do that, to get in touch with the folks who have access to these umbrella licenses that are available to the city, that if you can be a part of that, what that means is that once someone goes into Unite Us, that we can all see what all of us are doing to wrap around that family and help. And I know that we've been using terms like wraparound services for a really long time, but imagine all of us working off the same information system so that we can all see what we're all doing in real time and make comments to one another about what a family might need. I'm not a salesman for Unite Us, but I might as well be, because that's one way that all of our service providers can help. And just to consider ways that you can use your voice to advocate for really radical solutions, because this is an unprecedented crisis. And that if we really take a clear-eyed look at the scope of this crisis in terms of food insecurity and housing insecurity, it's really calling for bigger solutions than we've had in the past. And so that I don't necessarily want to advocate for any specific solution, but look at the data and look and find it yourself and advocate and follow folks that are speaking up. So that's kind of my 3-point presentation. Is one, how big the problem is. We believe there's about 20,000 households that are facing housing insecurity, whether that's eviction or just having trouble paying rent. We're doing lots of unprecedented stuff to be able to help those folks. And you can see in the chat how you can access those resources. And then finally, just a call to action to more than ever before become a part of just a movement to make as big of solutions as we're able to apply to this problem, and things that we've never done before because we've never faced a crisis like this before. I'll turn it back over to Leah. Thanks again for the time.
Awesome, Alex, thank you so much for being here. It's so important to be able to look at, what is the problem? How can we fix the problem? And then what are the outcomes of those solutions? And I think that between, your team and Angie's team and, even with United Way, another thing that I did want to throw out there is that Mighty Networks, I'm always bad at saying exactly what it is, but maybe Jocelyn, if you're still there, you can hop on and explain it a little bit more. But Unite Us offers that referral place to be able to refer to each other, and then the Mighty Networks platform through United Way offers a place where we can actually communicate with each other as community-based organizations to be able to communicate about the solutions to these problems, which is super exciting. So
that's exactly right, Leah. The Human Services Hub on Mighty Network, or just the Hub, we like to just call it the Hub to keep it easy, is a online network, and I had put it in the chat earlier for folks to get information on. But it is a place that not just about housing, but about food, about shelter, about any of the needs that we're addressing in the community, that different organizations can talk and collaborate. We share information about solutions, events, and trainings that are there, or if there's a question or need that an organization has, that they can pose it. Somebody had asked me, is the Hub different than Volunteer United? And it is. So I like to think of it as Volunteer United is where you get the physical things or people that you need to help support your nonprofit, and the Hub is where we thoughts and talk about solutions. So if you want to think and get information and data, then you go to the Hub. If you actually need physical people or in-kind resources, then you can post that on the Volunteer United.
awesome. Thank you so much, Jocelyn. Now, so we're out of time. We have like 2 minutes left. I know we had a lot of people in this meeting, which was very encouraging, and I'm so glad. Hopefully some good connections will be made because of the meeting. That's always the hope and the goal. Does anybody have any questions in the last couple of minutes here for either Angie or Alex regarding what they presented? If you do, there's a raise your hand feature, or you can also just bring yourself off of mute if you have any questions.
I just wanted to quickly introduce myself, if you don't mind. I'm Amanda
Yes, go ahead,
Della, and I'm
Amanda. Thank
actually,
you.
yeah, I'm actually the project manager for expanding the licenses for Unite Us. So Leah can share my contact info with you. And also I will send Leah links to 3 informational sessions that are coming up in October. We can certainly connect earlier than that if it's more urgent for you and your agency. But if not, there'll be 3 sessions coming up in October that you can register for. You can have other people in your agency go to it as well. We cover what the 360 collaborative network is, and then we give a really good demo of Unite Us.
That's awesome, Amanda. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, you came in after we got past the A's
Yeah,
and our
it's
introductions in the beginning.
totally
So
okay.
we didn't get to you, but I'm so glad that you're here. And yeah, if you send me out that information, I'll shoot it out to the collaborative group so everybody has that info for the sessions. So thank you so much. And you can also, Amanda, you can post your information in the chat, because the chat along with this recording will be emailed out to the collaborative group.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, does anybody else have any other questions or?
I just have I don't know if it's a question or a comment, but I know the people that end up coming to Asbury, when I explore with them what they have explored before they came to us in terms of assistance, and I suggest to them to try 211 and the various networks, they often come back to me and say that they couldn't be helped. And it's not like anybody can answer that question very well, because you have to know the individual circumstances, I'm sure, and whether they effectively even got through to somebody. But I have that experience a lot, and it's very frustrating, and I'm not sure what to tell them when, you know, they tell me 211 didn't help them at all, and I'm not going back there. So I just want to say that, put that out there.
I can speak to that a little bit, just because that's a conversation that we've been having both with the systems integration team and as a team within Catholic Family Center of how do we best direct folks that don't qualify for our programs, because within that group of households, there's folks who haven't yet recovered enough income to be able to sustain their household as it is. And those are folks that that we wouldn't be able to help through the eviction prevention resources we have right now. And so finding ways to direct them to services that can help them is something that we are really aggressively looking into, because we know that that's going to be a good chunk of the folks that come to us asking for that assistance, and finding better ways to navigate them through whatever the next couple of months are going to be looking like. And it's definitely going to be a struggle, but I think it's something that we should have a conversation about as a community.
And I think too, to add to that, the role of 211 here is to help the individual sort of pre-screen and get connected to a CBO based on their situation. So the role of 211 typically, even outside of this pilot, is usually just to help get people connected to resources. So maybe just making sure people go in with the expectation, like if you're looking to try to find something, the 211 telecounselors are a live voice, but they also have an online directory with the resources that they direct you to. So their role in this is really about getting people connected to the CBOs. And then to Alex's point, and something we've been wrestling with, is what about the individuals, like for example, who don't have the ability to pay their rent ongoing, which is a requirement in order to get to some of the community-based organizations funding, as well with the county dollars. For those individuals that don't have the ability to pay rent ongoing, our next best sort of referral source there is to get them connected to DSS, because they're the entity that provides this safety net for those who don't have that income. So I get what you're saying, Martha. I appreciate your feedback, because I've been kind of talking to people and following up as well. One of the things we would love to be able to do is to check in with people who we can see didn't get rent assistance and see, you know, if there's something else we can do. It's challenging that not everybody can be helped 100% by these programs, but hopefully we can capture the reasons at a more systemic level of what is causing people to not be helped. And we can look at those barriers. As I mentioned, some of the barriers we broke through initially were making people go to DSS first, requiring that they be in a 12-month lease. You know, we're now looking at co-op living situations and how do we get over that hurdle. So I think raising those barriers is only going to help us make this a better process going forward.
Yes, and I do think, I'll just speak a little bit prophetically here. I do think that at some point there will be dollars to help those who are even not able to currently sustain because of COVID. So the more we can capture that information, so even if maybe 211 can't help them right now, or the program that they're referred to can't help them right now, once they're in that system, we'll then be able to follow up with them to say, you know, hey, these are the new dollars that are out there. How are you in your situation? Where are you going? So I think that we're moving along this like step-by-step process. So we're eating the elephant one bite at a time, if you will. So yeah, thank you, Angie, and thank you, Alex. So we are past time. I just thank you all who have hung in there for your patience. I'm going to give you a couple of quick updates, and I know that a lot of people have jumped off the call. We've had about 10 people jump off the call, just had to go to other meetings. So I'm just going to give you a couple of quick updates here for Restoration Rochester. We are actually next month going to be hosting a hybrid meeting. There are several of you who have posed interest in meeting in person and meeting safely. And so Glory Worship Center at the Auditorium Theater has opened up their space for us to be able to do that, to be able to socially distance. We'll have tables set up and you'll be able to keep space in between you. We will ask that everybody that's there wear a mask, just because with that in-person networking, we do want to make sure that it's still a safe space. But we have had people who are just anxious and chomping at the bit to get back to an in-person collaborative meeting. So we will be offering that. I will send you more details in the coming weeks in your email for that. We will still have it available on Zoom. We have a tech team over there that's going to help us to be able to navigate doing a hybrid meeting. So please, if you could, remember me in your thoughts and prayers regarding that, because I'm not the most tech person, and I want to make sure that it's comfortable for both the people who are there in person as well as the people who are attending online. The other thing just to keep in the back of your minds, and we'll be talking about this a little bit more as time goes on, and I'm not going to put Angie on the spot, but just to say I really do want to have a conversation with her before we roll forward with this next step, is we want to start to have some strategic basic like strategizing meetings with different focuses with people who are a part of the community collaborative. So to Martha's point about the case management piece, there are a lot of case managers that are a part of our network that could probably bounce some ideas off of each other and try to think about how we could solve some of these issues. And so I don't want to go ahead of systems integration, because I know that there are already meetings that are being had about how to strategically handle some of these things that are happening in our community. But as a community collaborative, the goal is not just to come together and meet and hear presenters every month. The goal is to really connect with each other and also to help solve some of these community issues that we're having. So we'd love to work with, that's a call out to you, Angie. We'd love to work with systems integration to figure out how we can support that and maybe be the community face to what that looks like. How do we work with community members and other community-based organizations together to strategize out of some of these things. So that's it from Restoration Rochester. And then if anybody has any real quick just announcements of any upcoming events here in Rochester that you'd like to say before we close out in prayer and leave for those of you that are still remaining. Does anybody have anything? All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. I'm not sure, let's see, is Kevin still on the call? He looks like he had to jump off. I was gonna have him close in prayer, but I'm gonna ask Don Alt. Don Alt, will you close in prayer for us today?
Father, we thank you for this time that we spent together. Lord, we know that you are working in this city and with all these wonderful people that are working together to establish your kingdom and to help people that are less fortunate than we are. And we pray for wisdom as we go forward, and that we would continue to walk with you, Lord, and to seek your wisdom and your direction in all that we do and say. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, thank you. Thank you all for being here. God bless you. Have a good rest of your week, and we'll see you guys next month, either in person or online. All right, take care.
Everybody.